What is going on, guys? Welcome back to a new video on my channel. Today we're going to be talking about cutting losses early, how to save money on the trades that are clearly not going in your favor. This is by far the most requested video that you guys have asked for. So we're going to make it happen today so I can give you guys the information on how I do it. So I'm going to give you three setups, three examples where I cut the losses and I took all these trades on the series that you guys are watching on my channel. But first, I wanted to let you know that I took a payout. I recorded the payout when I was taking it and it didn't record for some reason, and I was like, when I finished explaining all the three setups about cutting losses and everything, I realized that it wasn't recording, so it was all a mess. But I just requested a payout again. Let me refresh the page so you guys can see this is live. This is not any like fake or screenshot or anything like that. 28 days trading days. The payout is pending. Today is September 19, $2,000, and this was of course on the challenge account that we've been doing on YouTube, which was sitting at $55,600. So whenever they take the $2,000 out, it will be sitting at $53,500. So it is pending as of right now, and I just wanted to be transparent with you guys before we start the video about cutting losses. So second payout of the account right here. I'm going to request another payout on my secondary account, but this is going to be after the video. But let's get started with the setups of that I have today for examples on how to cut losses early. So this was a Nasdaq trade that we took last week on Thursday, and I'm going to show you how I was able to cut this loss early and what was my thinking process. All right, so if you guys can see this setup, we had a break of high, we had a demand, we had the first reaction right here. Let me make sure this is recording. Yes, it is recording. Okay, because I don't want the same thing to happen. So we had the rejection right there at the demand, and then we are sitting above the EMA. So we have the 13 over here, the 50 over here, and the 200 over here. So the EMAs are in confluence with this setup. We also can see that we are sitting above the 13 and the 50 and rejecting them currently right now. So I like to see that. So what happened on the next candle? Next candle came back down, no candle breaks yet, and here, boom, we get that entry for this trade. All right, so we get in right there at the candle break. We put the stop loss at the bottom of that wick, below the wick, and then we're going to be aiming for a one-to-one. Now, what is my thinking process? We want to identify where do I want to get out if the market, or what are going to be the signs the market is going to be showing me if it doesn't want to go in my favor. So after we see this bullish engulfing candle, all right, with momentum, you guys can see that this green candle is bigger than the previous red candle. This is engulfing the red candle. It is a momentum candle going to the upside. It is rejecting the 13 EMA, and the red candle also rejected the 50 SMA previously. So this is showing you that we have momentum to go to the upside. If you get, this is also a good size candle. It's a nice size candle with volume to the upside. So if you're going to see this type of candle, you want the next candle, this is what I'm thinking, I want the next candle to be another bullish candle pushing to the upside. I don't want the next candle to be a red candle, or I don't want the next candle to be a consolidation candle. Because if buyers are stepping into the market and buyers are showing signs that they want to push the market to the upside, why is the next candle going to be a red candle coming back down, or a consolidation? Like, why is it going to start consolidating after that? So you also want to give it some, give your trade some breathing room, so you don't want to put your, oh, I'm gonna call my loss right here and just get out of break even as soon as the trade, like next candle comes back to break even, then you get out right there. No, you want to give it some breathing room. So what I do is, this is the candle with the most volume that has pushed away after my entry. So if I got in right here, this candle close engulfing, it has volume pushing to the upside. I want to see the next candle pushing up, but if the next candle breaks this low right here, which is the wick right there of that green candle, if it breaks that low, I have this room right here to make a decision on cutting my losses. All right, I have that room right there to make a decision if I want to get out early or not. All right, I cannot do anything about this area right here. Why? Because I need to give my trade some breathing room. I cannot have like, okay, I'm going to cut my loss right here and the trade, you just got into the trade. It doesn't work that way, because then it's going to come right here and then go bullish after that, and you got out for no reason. It wasn't showing you weakness or anything at all. So if I see that it breaks the low or the wick of this candle after having a bullish engulfing candle, now that's a sign of weakness. Now that's a sign that, oh shit, so we pushed up with volume to then start coming back down. So are buyers really in control, or are sellers the one in control because they were able to break the low of that candle right there that was that did the first push with buyers away from the demand. So whenever you see that, also you're trying to see what are we also breaking? A 13 EMA. So if we break that low right there, we're going to also be breaking the 13 EMA. It is true that we also have the 50 SMA right here, which even though if we break that low, it can reject at the 50 SMA and then it can go up. That can be a case as well. But you know that if it breaks this low, that is going to be your first sign that this setup is not looking good. It is definitely not going in your favor. That will be your first sign if it breaks this low. So you have that room right here to make a decision. Let's see what happens next. All right. So I'm gonna tell you what I should have done and what I did. So what I should have done, as soon as this candle tapped, because if you also can see, we had a supply over here. We know break of structure is a counter trend supply, but sometimes they do reject. So the candle rejected right there. And if you was watching this live, it is sometimes hard on replay mode for you guys to see this because you can just see the candles when it formed and closed. But when the candles are forming, you really have to be paying attention. That's also something super important. You have to be paying attention on how the candle is forming. All right, this candle live was coming down super fast, like with a lot of momentum, like if sellers were stepping in and pushing the market with a lot of momentum to the downside. So I should have gotten out when I saw that drop super fast. I should have gotten out at the break of that low. Now I'm gonna tell you where I got out. I actually got out like right here. All right, why did I get out right there? Because I was trying to see if the 50 SMA was going to hold. All right, so I was giving it a chance for the trade to reject at the 50 SMA and then potentially go to the upside. And at first, it did reject. It did reject the 50 SMA. At first, it was showing some rejections. But then we had like 10 seconds left for this candle to close. And I was seeing that the candle was literally sitting right here. And then it started coming back down and coming back down, and we only had 10 seconds left, so I knew that this candle wasn't going to close with a good rejection of the 50 SMA. We only had 10 seconds left. What is it going to do in 10 seconds? It's literally flip bullish. What are the probabilities of that? Literally super, super not impossible, but super hard to do. So when I saw that we had 10 seconds left, it wasn't showing great rejection at the 50 SMA, and we were still holding strong with strong selling pressure below that low right there. I just decided to cut my loss like right here, and then the next candle literally will have stopped me out. And then by the way, let me actually take out that blue box that I had covering my account number on the payout. But yeah, it will have stopped me out and then go in my favor. Now, I'm going to show you the re-entry so I can show you an example of what you really want to see. So after you have this bullish engulfing candle, all right, pushing away from the zone, same thing as this candle over here, for example, if it is going to break that candle, you want to see momentum going to the upside. It broke the candle, gave you the entry. What do you want to see on the next candle? You want to see momentum to the upside. You don't want to see another candle like this starting to break lows, right? And then what happened next? It literally exploded and went to the upside. This right here is what you will have liked to see right here after you got into the trade. If you don't see that and you see that we start breaking lows, it's because that is showing you signs that, oh man, this is not going in your favor. You better make a decision quick because you only have this room to make a decision if you want to cut the setup, the loss early or not. It is showing you the signs that it doesn't want to go in your favor, so be quick on your toes. So this is what you want to see. This is not what you want to see. All right, and that's how you cut the loss as well. I'm gonna show you a second example, and then we have a third one. And all these setups, as I said, I took them on the series that we have on YouTube of trading supply and demand. So this setup right here, oil. All right, oil setup. As you guys can see, this is a supply. It tapped right there, and then we got into the setup right here. What is this candle? This candle is a bearish engulfing candle. Look at the size of that candle, like super bearish. It closed below this low right here. It engulfed the green candle that we had previously before that one. It is pushing away from the zone. So if we break the highs over here, I have to cut my loss. All right, I have to cut my loss. I only have this room to cut my loss, but I also want to identify what do I want to see next after this candle with that much rejection and that much volume. What do I want to see next? I want to see a follow-up. I want to see another candle that drops and goes in my favor. If I see that the next candle starts pushing back up with some bullish momentum, or it starts consolidating or something like that, then what was the reason of having this much volume to push the market to your TP if it is just going to start consolidating or coming back to break even, or to your stop loss? It doesn't make any sense. So even though I have my mental stop loss right here, and then I know that if it breaks this high, that would be a sign that this setup doesn't want to hold. I'm trying to see the next candle pushing back down. If I don't see that, I'm going to be hesitant on this trade as well. And this is what happened next. The candle pushed all the way back down, halfway into TP right here, and then it started pushing back up. And then I closed this trade at break even. I took a small loss, I think, on this trade, and let me tell you why I closed. When I was looking at this setup was literally like right here. It had like 15 seconds, probably like maybe even less, to close the candle, and I was seeing like, oh man, this is not looking good, because after this much volume on the market on that red candle, I want to see another momentum candle pushing into my favor, pushing, going towards my TP. I don't want to see any candles rejecting and going to the upside, because this candle right here is showing me signs that sellers are really not in control in the market. Sellers show me a sign right here that they're in control in the market, so that's why I'm taking that setup. But then the next candle, why is it doing this? Why is it doing this? Are sellers really in control of the market, or was this just a fake out candle? What can it be? So whenever I saw that we had like 15 seconds left, the candle was like right here. It was bullish at that time. It had this nice wick to the downside. I knew like, oh, what are the chances that we're going to push back down and close with a nice bearish engulfing candle, or not engulfing but a bearish candle in the next 10 seconds or 12 seconds. So whenever I saw that, I just decided to take a small hit right here at around break even. We also had news close, so that's another factor. If you have news close, you gotta understand that you want your TPs to be hit. I don't trade during news, so I want my TPs. If I take a setup 20 minutes before news, I want my TP to be hit fast. I don't want this to be playing around, because news are approaching, and I know that before news, it sometimes likes to consolidate, or come back into your zone to then play out and stuff like that. So how we had news at 10:30, and this was at 10:20 already. 10:15 candle that closes at 10:20. So we only had 10 minutes left, and we're having this type of candle not following up the momentum that we had right here selling. I'm out of the position. I took my small loss right here at break even, and then literally next candle will have hit stop loss right there. All right, so that was a nice save, and then news came in right here with that candle. Re-entry will have won, but that's news. I don't trade news, but this is another example of what you want to see. Again, after this momentum candle, you want to see another momentum candle. There is no reason for candles to start closing bullish or consolidate or anything like that. You want to follow up with that momentum if the setup is really going to go in your favor. And the last setup that we have is this Nasdaq one over here. Let's go into replay mode. So we had a supply, we had a break of structure right here with a closure below that level, and then this is what happened on this setup. Let me make sure it's recording. It is recording. So it tapped right there. Let me. Okay, it tapped right there with that red zone, red candle, sorry. And then my entry was going to be right there if we break below that wick. It broke below that wick and pushed with momentum to the downside. Now, what is the time of this trade? 11:10. I know that after 11 a.m. we like to do reversals. We are low. You have to understand what kind of setup you're taking as well. We are low on the market, because the first low, this is a high, low, high, low, high, and then first break of structure was right here on that low. We push to the downside. We have gaps above us that we might want to fill on the 5-minute chart, and we are kind of low. I don't really like taking setups like this, but at the end of the day, we also have gaps to the upside on the higher time frames that we might want to go and fill out. But if you're looking at this setup after 11 a.m., I know reversals like to happen. I know the market likes to reverse. So if we was looking bearish over here and we are past 11 a.m., probably we want to come back and correct some of this movement, which we haven't had a pullback, a clear pullback on this movement. So if you guys see what happened here, we had the break of the candle, and yes, we had a momentum candle going in my favor. So I know at this point that I want to get out if the setup breaks this high right here. All right, now what am I also seeing? This is a low, and we didn't close below that low. So that can also be a potential liquidity graph on the 5 minute chart. I'm not sure. I'm trying to find out what's going to happen. All right. I do also like to look at lower time frames. I remember in this setup, I was looking at the lower time frames because the setup started coming back after it was so close into TP and so close. Again, the same thing applies. Bearish candle, bearish engulfing candle, are a lot of momentum to the downside. Why is the next candle green? Why is the next candle green? Especially after 11 a.m., where I know that reversals like to happen. Why are you going to push down with that much momentum and the next candle is not going to follow up that momentum and close green? I don't like to see that. I don't like to see that. So on this setup in specific, I was looking at the 1 minute short and I saw that we had the 13 EMA right here, the 1 minute short. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a chance. I know it's late, so sometimes it likes to consolidate, reverse, but maybe we can hit my TP before it likes to reverse if it is even going to correct or do something like that. So I'm going to give it a chance. And then you saw this candle right here. All right, by this time this was 11:19, so 11:20 was the candle that closed right here, that 5 minute candle, which was closed with this next candle. All right, so if you guys see this 13 EMA right here, I'm liking this. We had a rejection candle, we had a bearish engulfing candle right there, which is that red candle. I'm liking this. What do I want to see? I already know that the 5 minute candle didn't close good how I liked it. I already know it. So on the 1 minute short, I want this 13 EMA to hold and push the price to the downside to my TP. If by any chance I see that after we had this rejection and we already started pushing back down, all right, with some momentum because that's a bearish engulfing candle on the 1 minute short. If by any chance I see that the next candle or one of the next following candles breaks this high, which was where we rejected, if it breaks above that high, I'm going to get out at break even. Two reasons. One, it is showing signs that it wants to reverse and it is not following up with the momentum. Second reason, because of the time. It is 11:20 already. I know that after 11 we reverse, as I said. So I don't like the time that I took this setup. I'm being super cautious at that time. All right. And then the next candle literally started pushing up. At this point, I'm still in the position at this point, even though this was a bullish candle. Maybe I could have closed if we broke that high right there, but we were still like kind of pretty much at the 13 EMA. But then the next candle literally started pushing back up. Once it broke here, that high, I got out of the position at break even. Took a small win because I literally immediately got out right there. So and my entry was at the break of the candle, so took a small win, but I count that as a break even. And then I stay watching the setup every time that I cut the loss. And look, momentum to the upside. And then what happened after that? Momentum to the upside. This is the type of candle, all right? This is the type of formation that you want to see right here if the setup is going to go in your favor. Do you guys see the difference? This candle, this is the supply, right? Candle rejected is a doji and momentum candle to the downside. You're in the position. What do you want to see after a momentum candle? A follow-up. A follow-up and your TP to be hit. If he starts playing around, it's most likely because he's not going to go in your favor. What happened here? Doji candle, then you have the momentum candle right here, and then what do you see? A follow-up. That's what I wanted to see right here. Literally right here on my setup. I want to see that if the market is really going to go in my favor. I don't want to see any candles like closer like this, showing rejection, especially after 11 a.m. So this is the type of thing that you want to see going away from your zone so that it can show you that it wins. Reversal candle, your entry, momentum candle, and then follow up. All right, follow up. That's very important. All right. In this case, we didn't have it. We had that momentum candle, but then this candle, what was going on? Why didn't sellers keep pushing the price to the downside? So that is giving me, I'm being hesitant now to hold the trade because this is showing me that sellers are not really in control after this much momentum. Why didn't it keep going down? Are sellers getting weaker and buyers are stepping in, or what's going on? So especially on that time as well, as I said, which is very important. So hopefully this video was helpful to you guys. I know it's kind of a long video, but I feel like I wanted to go into as much details as I could to help you guys out. So if you guys can hit a like, subscribe, also follow me on Instagram. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. And if you want to take the same setups as me every single day, the same trades, make sure to join the Discord. The link will be in the description as well. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Peace.